Herkese merhaba. Uzun zamandır beklediğimiz filmler bir bir vizyona gelirken sinema dünyasına hakim olmak gerek. Geçtiğimiz hafta neler olmuş? Bu hafta hangi yapımlar öne çıkacak? Kim hangi projeyi okeylemiş? Sinemalarda neler izleyeceğiz? Hepsini öğreneceğiz. O zaman Sinemaskop'a başlayalım.
We're the same, you and I. Just a couple of hot-headed fools.
Yeah, same. Hulk like fire, Thor like water.
Well, kind of both like fire.
But Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire.
Asgard bir yıkımın eşiğinde. Kıyamet günü olan Ragnarok zamanı geldi. Eğer gerçekleşirse bütün Asgardlılar yok olacak. Üstelik yıkımın sorumlusuysa acımasız Hela. Hikayesiyle büyük merak uyandıran serinin 3. filmi Thor Ragnarok, İskandinav mitolojisinin yanı sıra Planet Hulk hikayesinden de ilham alıyor. Taika Waititi'nin yönetmenliğini üstlendiği filmin bütçesi ise bir hayli yüksek. Bu sene Thor'un ve iş yerinden bir arkadaşı olan Hulk'un çizgi romanının 55. yılı. Chris yeniden Thor kuvvetine kavuşabilmek için haftada 6 gün spor yaptı ve günde 6000 kalori aldı. Fragman yayınlandığında da 24 saat içinde 1.300.000 kez tıklandı. Bir dedikodu daha vermek istiyorum. Belki Ragnarok beyaz perdede izleyeceğimiz son Thor filmi. O yüzden gelin kamera arkasını seyredelim.
Where are we? You have no idea.
In this film, we wanted to kind of strip it back and wanted to have more fun with it. You know, and Taika had the exact same idea we were both saying. In Thor Ragnarok, let's try and have more attitude.
Who just got replaced?
Ragnarok's sort of a new cycle in the life of the world, all the realms of the universe. It's the destruction of the old and the rebirth of the new. And that's really exciting to me.
Surprise! This will be such fun.
The way that I've approached this is to rebuild it in a new way.
You look great, dude.
You too, man.
You've got a thunder.
Tonally, I think it's just a perfect mix for where the character and story needed to go. You know, different costumes, different weapons, different cast or characters to work off give you a different energy.
Yes!
Thor's in a crisis. He never went back to Asgard to claim the throne. He wanted adventure. When we pick him up, he's at the end of this search for himself.
What are the odds we survive this trip?
I'd say the odds are about 1,000,000 to 1.
You know, I want to take people on a ride and inject some comedy into it, an adventure that keeps people laughing along the way, but also has the spectacle and the stuff that gets people excited.
He's a fighter.
Hel is the goddess of death, and I've had incredible fun playing her. Oh, I've missed this.
Hela's the first female villain that we've had in a Marvel film, and Kate has destroyed the idea of your typical villain.
Kneel before your queen.
Loved working with Kate Blanchett. I was so excited to see what she was going to do. Hela has this insane, off-kilter attitude.
You look like a smart boy. How would you like a job? I think the best villains are always those that you kind of love and hate what they do, but you sort of understand it. There's a logic to it.
She wants to come back home and be accepted, and she wants what's hers.
You're in my seat.
I would love for someone else to rule, but it can't be you. You're just the worst.
Some of the happiest times have been beating people up. I've really enjoyed it. It's like, I don't have to speak today. I can just throw axes into someone's gut. So it's been good.
What is it? What makes it different from everyone else? You know, no one knew much more about Jack Kirby at the beginning than that he was this fantastic artist, had created all this work. And so we started examining the Jack Kirby work.
To capture the essence of that childhood feeling is about everything being hyper-real. Because of the breadth of design information that we're generating and the amount of storytelling that requires every detail to be analysed and kind of brought into the world that we're creating, we've established another level of the design department, which is my role.
Everyone who's ever seen a Marvel comic knows this world, you know, and so how do we then turn this into a real world that we can shoot? So you know, there's a whole lot of things that we use it as an influence for our spaceships, for our weapons, for our costume for our world. Our world of Sakar is loosely based and certainly influenced by Jack Kirby's work.
With production designers' help, with Dan and our concept artists, I help translate the director's vision into something that's more practical for the art department to build, and we guide the visual production of the film.
So over here there's the model we're working up for Sakar. This is the gladiatorial arena, and the size of it in relation to the rest of the town shows you the importance of gladiators in this world. This model just allows us to explain to everybody what Sakar is, the levels that it exists on, the sort of basic size of it. We have concept work that pretty much established the whole of this world. Now we're taking it into modelling, we're taking it into set build.
It's not just about building something, it's actually about the interaction between the script and the physical set. What happens in that set determines how it's built and whether it's going to work properly. Whether there's stunt work on it or action, then we decide we'll go to this material because that'll take the stunt side of it. There's a lot of elements there that have to go together and not fall apart. So particularly when you've got large numbers of shooting crew that walk across all this and you know, because they have to work on there as well. So everything has to be worked out structurally.
So right behind me at the moment is the new construction we're doing. We've already shot in these streets, we've repainted them, and behind me is the new construction for the main road up to the Grand Master's Palace. We've repainted all of these streets. You can see some of the undercolour, some of the old colour coming through in the slots, in the sort of Jack Kirby design elements. So we sort of keep referring, you know, every time anyone doesn't understand what we're building, I say just refer to Jack Kirby, you know, it's all there. And sure enough, we go in and we use that influence with our, you know, with our wall textures, our colouring, our shapes. It's very comic book, it's very in your face, it's very primary colour.
We wanted to make sure that the city looked like it was made from recycled metal, and then how would that age? So we did a lot of different, research into how different metals age under different atmospheric pressure, and it was interesting. So we did a lot of sampling, a lot of camera testing for colours. In the end, we made everything look very corroded and had this real leaching coming out of all of the bright colours. So it dulled down the colour where we needed it to, and also just helped create the overall look and the atmosphere. What's the surface? What are the actors going to be seeing? What's the director actually going to be shooting? And that's our bit. So our part is still very important that, you know, if an actor's leaning up against it, or if it's in the shot behind them, it needs to feel very real, and we actually dictate the rest of the look.
Well, the process with the throne, because that set in particular, it was a blue screen set. So basically, what we build is a portion in mind that it's going to be a grander thing, and we will usually get a concept with that grander picture already roughly drawn out or rendered.
The throne room had a few different elements. The main focus was the throne itself, which was all completely sculpted, and then on top of that we came over with gold powder in a clear medium. And then on top of that, we then added more depth with different glazes, some warmer, some cooler, depending on what detail we wanted to pull out. And then finally, in terms of the throne, with the gold, we then buffed it all with gold paste and wax to really highlight the beautiful detail that was in and around the throne. The floor itself was ply that was textured. And then on top of that, we put 4 different base colours, 5 different glazes, and then we aged on top of that to pull the whole thing together and give it a really nice cinematic feel, because it's important to not only go through the process but then see how it's going to look through camera and what they're going to see.
The Hulk bed was interesting. It was, I worked a fair bit with Ra on that one. Basically, he wanted it to look like an upside-down weasel skull with the bottom jaw sticking up as the headrest and the eye sockets to the ground. Basically, the story Ra and I were sort of coming up with that bed was once one of Hulk's conquests as a gladiator on Sakaar, and he's just made it into a bed.
It sat inside Hulk's bedroom, which was very bright as well. It was a strong red and white. Again, a bold choice, but it was important for that to be the look of Sakaar. It was meant to be very striking, and it certainly was. So, and the Hulk bed itself was a completely sculpted item again. We finished that off with a bit of a bony sort of look, a little bit more realistic. The bed itself was also inlaid with this certain pattern that we had running through the whole of Sakaar, which ran through the interiors and the exteriors of Sakaar. It was a certain pattern that helped tell the story of where you were, along with the colour.
Everyone will go, oh, it's a bit high, you can't get up to it, and a human can't get up to it, but a Hulk can. So you got to always think of those things, you know. It's just a different environment and a way of thinking. It's pretty cool. It's exciting.
Conjuring things out of stories and sort of using the most amazing talent you can find to generate a world which has never been seen before is the kind of challenge that I think best suits my working approach.
It's definitely the versatility. It's definitely the experimentation of it all. The things, I guess, without colour, without you're just looking at a blank surface. So we add, we work alongside with sculpture, and they add texture. We add the colour as well as some texture, and it just gives everything an element of reality and depth.
I guess what gets me excited is actually the construction or the making of other worlds. You know, it's not everyone can say that they made that world happen.
Because all of a sudden it's gone from everything's been on paper, and then once it comes to us, things are all of a sudden becoming, you know, very real, and that's what the camera's going to see. So it certainly takes it to the next level.
I'm only as good as the crew that I surround myself with, just like anyone. And it's actually really fun to watch people get a kick out of it and to make sure they have fun doing it. And then when you see it on the big screen and you know, it's a passion that it really gives you a sense of a different, I would say, a different aspect of being an artist.
As a child, I was always reading comics, or eventually I was reading books and visualising. So I think, you know, visualising is something that everyone does, and then taking that a step further into actually making the things that you're visualising, you know, starting with models. And so in this case, to design a world, to find a world, the world is very much in the script writer's head. You get a script, you read that, oh yeah. You've got a director who's taken this job on because he's visualising this world, and then using influences to tighten all that up. We start to get a crew, you know, and we start to get concept artists, and their vision takes it into another place, you know, and then we get set designers and their vision brings it into another place. And everyone, you know, we'll end up with sort of 300 or 400 people in our art department, construction department, who'll all bring something to this party. So my job really is sort of finding the initial place we're going and then letting everyone bring something to it that stay on track, you know. But it gets great and big and wacky and wonderful, and everyone gives something, and we end up shooting a film in it, you know.
Yoğun bir sinema turunun ardından Sinemaskop'un sonuna geldik. Haftaya yine dolu dolu bir bölümle aynı gün ve saatte tekrar karşınızda, ekranlarınızda olacağız. Hafta içi boyunca sinemadan haberdar olmak istiyorsanız sizleri sosyal medya hesaplarımıza bekliyoruz. Sinemasız kalmayın. İzlemediğiniz filmde kalmasın. Hoşça kalın.